This is the second in a series of videos on the SnowPod. And if you have not watched the first video, this one might not make a heck of a lot of sense. But go in and see that first video, and it'll give you some context on what a SnowPod is, how it operates, and how one climbs mountains with it. So I encourage you to view that. And while I'm at it, you might as well subscribe too. I'm not going to turn out videos very frequently, but I will churn one out every couple of months or something like that. So, but anyhow, this is the second one in which my friend Owen and I tear the SnowPod apart and make a pile of parts. Hi, my name is Pete Reiki, and this is my assistant and video expert, Owen.
Hello.
And today we're going to go over the SnowPod, and we're going to disassemble it and show you how the basic function of it works. I use this device to climb Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, and Mount Shasta. And I actually climbed Mount Shasta with 3 other paraplegics in similar SnowPods. But this is the original that I used to climb on Mount Rainier. It took 13 days to do that trip back in the year 2000. So it's been quite a long time since I've done that. But I want to pass on the knowledge I have about the engineering of the SnowPod. And so that's what the primary focus is going to be here. It is all human power. There are no batteries in it, there are no electric motors, there's no gasoline motors. Many people have suggested that I put a motor on it, but then I say, well, why not just buy a snowmobile? The objective is to be human powered and not to rely on motorized vehicles. But there's essentially 3 main physical components to this device: the track system, the drive system, and the transmission system. Now the transmission is designed to give you both forward and reverse direction on the track so that you can turn one forward and one in reverse. I can't do that right now because the transmission is no longer operating. It's been sitting out in the weather too long. But we're going to tear it down and show you the details of what's inside it and how it operates. But you can drive one track forward and one track backwards, and that's how you turn it. But it weighs about 60 pounds. You can pick it up relatively easily. It's a little bit clumsy to pick up, but it's not too heavy. It's all made out of chrome moly tubing and bicycle components, fiberglass molded seat, and it takes a lot of endurance, not necessarily a lot of strength, but a lot of endurance to drive this thing. During the climbs that we achieved on Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, and Mount Shasta, to repeat myself, we oftentimes crank this 18 hours a day, which required quite a bit of physical training to get in shape to be able to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop talking and get out the tools and start tearing each individual piece apart. Anything you want to add, Owen?
Not really. You covered it pretty well.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, we'll be back.
Cut.
Cut. Where the chain runs now from the top, from the crank down here to down here, and then back to the back, and then to this 7-speed cluster in the back of the transmission. So that's the major drivetrain. The next step is to take, what do you want to do next, Owen? Take the track off or take the drivetrain off?
Probably the drivetrain because it's sitting on the track right now.
Okay, all right, we'll take the drivetrain off. So You We got all of the brackets off except for these two brackets here and that bracket in the back there. And we're gonna have to cut those off, I think. That'll work. Oops, there we go. I think that's got it. This is the guts of the matter. Okay? We'll tear this apart and clean it up, show you what's inside. But basically you have a cluster that comes power in from the human operator and then power out to the tracks right here. And in here you've got forward, neutral, and reverse. Yeah, these guys are stuck on there pretty ferociously, but I developed a technique for getting them off. I have a number 6 wedge for taking drill chucks off, Jacob's tapers, and a couple of old motorcycle tire irons that I bought thousands of years ago when I owned a motorcycle. And if I wedge these in here and pound these guys in, I can get these off, but it's still not easy, but at least it works. So that guy goes in there, and that goes in there. Okay, and then just hi. Bingo. Morning gear.
Crappy cap? That's good.
Do I want my what?
You should.
Yeah. Well, it's coming.
It's like one main socket.
That's a specialty socket for bottom brackets. It's got the teeth on the outside.
Did you build it?
Huh?
Did you make it?
No, it's a Park tool, I believe.
Huh.
Well, Leefu. Thank you. There we go. So this is the bare frame. This is the kind of structural guts of the matter. The only thing that's not welded in here is this stinger that a ski goes on, but that's a different story altogether. So basically, this frame was designed so that it would be structurally rigid for the track, and that the weight of the driver was as low as possible and still maintain an enormous amount of torsion resistance. But it's pretty lightweight. I mean, you know, it's what's this weigh? Pick it up and tell me what it weighs. Give me a guess. Pick it up, and you got to pick it up first. 20 pounds?
Something like that.
And all these bottom brackets had to be welded in here nice and square, so the track didn't twist. So these guys can't twist. I may have used thicker wall tubing for these extensions, probably 045, maybe even 065 side. These are made out of 4130 plate, probably water jet cut. And the other thing that we really changed substantially in the second design is instead of trying to bolt the transmission directly to this, I took a plate of metal and ran it down there and welded it to the frame. And then that provided a series more tractable bolt holes to put the transmission on. So I think in the frame, that was the only design difference we made between this very first one and the second one. The tower here, I was always worried that the tower would not be strong enough, but it turns out to be quite strong. And that the position of these guys and the sprocket as it hung out more or less had to be lined down this center tubing. So getting these guys in position and getting them square did require some substantial alignment. These guys all had to be nice and square to each other to get the chain run to go. And that wasn't too hard because this was actually made as a separate unit and then welded onto the main frame. Paint job looks a little dinged up, but I'm not gonna redo the paint job. I think the patina looks good. Don't you think the patina of it looks good, Owen? You don't know what a patina is?
Not really.
Okay, a patina is a layer of attractive dirt. Let's call it that. So here we have the table of parts. There's not that many parts actually, you know, so mostly sprockets and roller blade track supports, guides, and then a lot of chain and bolts and stuff. We'll have to sort through all of that. A lot of brackets on this thing for various things. It's, you know, if you know where something wants to go, you can, you know, silver solder a bracket on, but if you don't know where it wants to go or what angle it needs to be at, these guys work really well. But they're a pain in the ass to make. Well, there's basically a handle right here, and that got machined off. So just like this guy here, you know, this guy got machined off on that one. That's all we did on that. And so that gives you 3 gears. That gives you 3 gears. And then there's 2 follower chains, but in the back of the transmission there's another 7 speeds. So 3 times 3 is 9, times 7 is,
Huh?
how much is 9 times 7, Owen?
Oh gosh.
I can have 63.
63 possible gears. You can't do math any better than I can. At least in our heads, right? Okay, so have you studied calculus yet?
No.
Really? Oh, you'll enjoy calculus. That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of
I
fun.
found calculus to be a real hoot and a holler.
I'm sure you did.
I got a C in calculus. I did okay.
All right, well, let's see.
I surprised everyone with a C in calculus.
So that was the second video, Owen and I tearing down the SnowPod and making a pile of parts. And now I've got to spend a heck of a lot of time cleaning all those parts up and getting all the old dirt off of them and seeing what's broken and what's not, needs to be replaced and so forth and so on. And then I also have to take the transmission and tear it down. So the next video in this series will be actually about the tear down of the transmission. And I've already actually done the video recording for that, but let me tell you, it was a nightmare. It was 24 years ago I designed the SnowPod transmission, and I had forgotten a lot of stuff. So anyhow, keep your eye out for the thirds in this series, which should be out as soon as I feel like it. So anyhow, have fun and stay happy.